welcome to my interactive video thingy-majiggy for Dr. Borchardt's personal interest thing. So, how do I want to start this? Okay, so my personal interest is America and politics and our generation's involvement in politics, and then also global perspectives. So I'm trying to kind of touch bases on everything, and this is kind of a lot, so if I start talking fast, I apologize, but I was trying to save us from like a 20-minute long video. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I am controlling this off of my phone, by the way, so if you see me like doing this, it's because I'm controlling it off my phone. So to get out of the way, I am not a Democrat nor am I a Republican. However, I do lean more towards Republican because I do believe in personal responsibility, limited government, free markets, individual liberty, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. The opposite of a Democrat, which believes the government should have more control over like schools, businesses, taxes. So basically, I believe in less control from the government. Like, I believe in more personal liberty. The thing that makes me not a full-on Republican is that I don't always agree with the Republican Party. So I do sometimes I'm more liberal, sometimes I'm more conservative, but mostly I believe in everything I just said. Okay, so I'm not saying that Democrats are wrong, but that's just not what I believe in. I believe in more personal liberties, freedoms. As a American citizen, I believe my family and I are perfectly capable of making our own decisions regarding money, education, lifestyle. We got this, okay? Okay, so moving on. I think we should get rid of Common Core because the government cannot decide what we are going to learn in school. I think that should be more of a state thing, because something that works in Washington is not going to work for everyone. So, yeah. I also believe in our Constitution, the words our founding fathers made this country on. I believe in rights and freedoms. Okay, I'll shut up now. Okay, and then I also believe in our strong national defense. Oh wow, I look like an idiot. Okay, so, moving on, our generation's involvement in politics. So, as a 13-year-old girl, I am told more often than I prefer that I am way too involved in not only what goes on in my country, but what goes on outside of my country. I think that is completely incorrect. I think as young adults it's important that we are more involved. I can't tell you how many people my age will try to argue with me about my global perspectives, my opinions, beliefs, other stuff, without taking the time to do their own research and form their own perspectives. So, excuse me. So basically, no offense, but I think our generation is just super lazy when it comes to doing stuff like research and watching the news and, just trying to get a handle on what's going on. And I think, we're a bit too caught up in keeping up with the Kardashians and keeping up with their social media than we are keeping up with our presidential election. Yay! Okay, so it bothers me more than words can describe when people take advantage of what we have here in the U.S. because we're extremely lucky to be born into a country where we have the right to speak our minds. We have the freedom of press. We can form our own opinions. We can love who we want to love. We can do this. We can do that, and not have to worry about it. And we kind of take that for granted because we don't look long enough to see. So this is in Venezuela. Basically, they have a ton of chaos and pandemonium, and people are fighting over food in the streets and water, and their government, they have a socialist leader, and even though their government and first-class citizens are super rich from oil sales, most of the country lives as second and third-class citizens. They live in poverty and are fighting over food. And so we don't see that stuff in the U.S. We have an abundance of food and supplies that we don't have to fight over. However, our second class is sort of diminishing slowly, but, we're not fighting in the streets over food and stuff. So you think about places like Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, where they have total totalitarians. That's fun to say. Okay. They have like dictatorships, and their rulers, they rule out of fear. And so that's just something you don't see in the U.S. Found it. Okay, so this is in Saudi Arabia. This is a public execution of foreigners who come into the country as lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender. And, we do have a bit of unrest about having the right to love who you want to love in the U.S., but our leaders are not going to cut off your head for being gay or, changing your sex or anything. Okay. And, my third example, this is in Nice, France. It's some of the aftermath from the attack on Bastille Day. I remember watching this on the news. I don't know if you've seen it, but I remember crying because I just really had the feels for France then. Because, in the U.S., we celebrate our Independence Day. We watch the pretty firework displays with our neighbors and friends and family, and we celebrate and, all this stuff. And we don't worry about some guy, a radical Islamist coming and running us all over with a big truck and killing almost 100 people. It's just devastating. There's evil in this world, and it's only getting worse, and we really don't take the time to look at what's going on outside of our country and think, wow, we're so lucky that we don't have to, deal with that in this country because we have the protection of our military and we have rights and freedoms, and, because the guy attacked them because they have the kinds of rights and freedoms we have in the U.S. My fourth and final example for this part of my presentation is the execution of James Foley. James Foley was an American journalist. He was there doing coverage on, the chaos over in Syria, and basically they captured and tortured him in a prison for months, while our country's leaders didn't really do as much as they probably could have to save him, and it resulted in this video being released of his cruel death and his forced spreading of propaganda. So you think about that, the news uses every day our freedom of press. They report, we post on social media whatever we want to, and we don't worry about people coming and capturing us and then torturing us and then cutting our heads off. We don't think about that, and I think that's something we really take for granted. Moving on. It's unnerving to me that some people will not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem, because to me, in that moment, you are disrespecting the flag that gives you the right to sit where you are and disrespect it. And, you're disrespecting the millions of people who have given their lives for that flag. And, this affects me personally because my sister Riley is in the Navy, and so I'm proud to say that she's serving our country. This is actually a picture of her naval graduation. She's 19. She graduated, I think, second in her class, so this is a picture at her naval graduation with my sister Caitlin and my mom, and then her in the middle. This affects me personally because you think about people disrespecting the fact that so many people get up and fight for their rights and freedoms every day. My sister is currently serving our country. It affects me because, it's a bit ridiculous that people want to say that they don't have rights and liberties here when they have the right to be educated and speak their minds and have their own opinions and, do what they do, while people like my sister are out selflessly serving our country, so you have those rights and freedoms. And also my cousin Christian is in the Navy. He's currently deployed to God knows where, but you think about who our next president is going to be. I'm concerned with that because we're on the brink of a World War III. It's inevitable, and it's just, I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking about that now. Okay, so I had some other examples, but this video is starting, I think it's close to 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna kind of leave those out. So basically, you have to think about the people that, they have a family and life, and they put it all on the line for our freedom and our safety. So, that's what I think about when I see people on the news that will not stand for the national anthem. You're disrespecting that. So I'm going to try to get to my conclusion, and, so I think it's important for us as young adults, as students, to be more informed and involved on politics, because you know, we can't really do that much in middle school, but as we grow up, it is our responsibility to make America great again. You know, people come from all over the world, you know, we take in people from Cuba and North and South Korea and Japan and where else? You know, Mexico, Africa. We take in people from all over the world because we're humanitarians, and those people are coming here for the American dream. They're coming here for those rights and freedoms that we take for granted. They're coming here to raise their family. They come here for a better life. And I think it's just our job to build America back into that American dream. Because now it's like we're starting to diminish into a third world country, and you know, we have civil unrest, and it's because no one's really informed enough. And I think that's important for us to start at a young age, to start informing ourselves and being more involved and just having our own opinions and knowledge, and use these rights and freedoms we have to, you know, be intelligent. And we need to think about what goes on outside of our country and just think about how lucky we are that that kind of stuff doesn't go on here. And, you know, this is the country that you are going to grow up in. This is the country that your family is going to grow up in. I have, boatloads of pride and love for this country, and I think I just want to share it with you. And I know I'm preaching to a classroom full of 13 and 14-year-olds to be more involved in politics and, you know, having a global perspective and stuff, but I really do think this is important. And if you take away anything from this video, I'd like you to take away that the U.S. has made it so much easier for us to live our life safely and freely, and we need to respect that more by using these rights and freedoms of knowledge and opinions and to speak our minds, to use it to just, you know, enjoy what we have here and not take it for granted, and just be a bit more aware of what goes on in our country and outside of our country. So I'm going to shut up now, and thank you for watching my project, and God bless America, and let's make America great again. Yay! Okay.